The original plan this morning was to try and get a row of potatoes in, or 3 rows actually, of Charlotte, but as usual the rains come and beat me, and the forecast for the next 2 or 3 days don't look too good. So change of plan, I'm going to try and get the first carrot box sorted out. This is the first tank I've started my carrots in every year, and what I did, the first layer I put about 2 inches of horse manure with straw in, then another couple of inches of well rotted horse manure. Then the next layer is just a mixture of John Ennis number 2 I think, with multi-purpose compost and some sharp sand mixed all together, and I've just topped that up. What I'll do, I'll sow directly in the top of that and then sieve some compost on the top just to give the seeds a bit of covering. UPVC plastic that I use for labels, and that's just enough cut. And what I do, I create a little channels or ridges, call them what you like, in the soil. Just press the dent lightly. And do it the opposite way. And then what I do, I sow the carrots on the grid pattern as thinly as is reasonable, and then as they germinate I actually thin them out, prick them out, and I find that them the space quite nicely like that. And as usual, I'm growing me trusty old faithful pal sweet candle. I can't recommend these enough. I mean, last year I had a tremendous crop, right up till probably 2 or 3 weeks ago I was pulling them out, and if you're stuck for what to use, I can highly recommend these sweet candle. And using the trusty old seed sower, away we go. I'm not sure how well you'll see this, but really I've sown them reasonably thickly, because as they germinate I'll start thinning them out, and then you'll see them form the actual grid pattern as they start to thicken up. What I'll do now is just give them a light covering over, watering, and put a piece of glass on the top. All that's left to do now is give them a dusting of a little covering over with a bit of ground up vermiculite in there as well. And that's it. So there we have it. I'll just give it a bit of protection with a plastic storage box to help it through the cold snaps we're having. You may recall the incident of the Crimson Crush anti-blight tomatoes, blight resistant. Them were the 4 what I got out the 10 packet, and as you remember I went to Sutton's at the show at Edible Garden. They gave me another pack. Well, there's the same packet with marked 10 seeds inside, and that's what I've got out. There's about 18 or 19 plants in there, so I'm more than happy with that germination. Thank you, Mr. Sutton. Well, in the words of Wallace and Gromit, it's a grand day out, but only for today unfortunately. The next few days we've got rain coming in, so the immediate plan for me now is to get some potatoes in. These 2 beds here, I'm going to put Charlottes in there and the Sarpos in there, I'm not going to put the sarpals in yet, but the Charlottes are going to go in 3 rows. Now normally I dig a trench out and then bulb planter, put the potato in, with a compost fertiliser, cover it back up. These beds have recently been covered with reasonably rotted manure. There's quite a lot in here, and hopefully the worms have took it down, so instead of digging the trench out, I'm just going to go straight down with the bulb planter, put the potato in, fertiliser, cover it up, and then put the plastic back on. So let's go. As you can see, this is absolutely beautiful stuff. It is just crumbling. So I'll just give that a light tittle over with the 5-prong cultivator, and then we can start getting the spuds in. Another bit of OCD for me is the whole length of my boards, I mark them out with foot markers with a saw cut on the end. There's another one there. And it goes all the way along the bed. I find that doing it on both sides of the bed, if you want to put a plank across or a string, you can use the lines as guides, and then it keeps the lines nice and parallel with the bed, they don't go off at an angle. This is the mix I'm going to be filling the potato holes with. It's 3 parts multi-purpose compost and 1 part of this 6X manure. There's a bit of bloodfish and bone in as well, and I'll also chuck a few slug pellets down there just in case. Okay, I've put 8 sticks along the edge of the bed to roughly line out where each potato is going to be, and I'll use them as a marker as I move the plank along for the different rows. I dug a hole in there with the bulb planter. That's probably down 8 or 9 inches, and what I'll do then is put the potato in there with a bit of the mix I've made. I'm also going to add a few slug pellets in here as well, just in case. That is all done. I've actually marked the rows with my old faithful friend, the electrical tape, and just put a staple in between on the end of each line. I'll just put the covers back on now to keep the soil warm for 2 or 3 weeks before hopefully we'll see them sprouting up. The peas are starting to put a bit of size on now, so I think it's about time they went out. This is the bed that the peas are going to go in. Just peas and I think I'm going to put a courgette in. But first of all, I need to remove all the covers. As you can see, the soil's fairly moist, and that's been well manured over the last couple of months, so ideal for planting straight in. Okay, that's the trench done now. I've just tamped the bottom with the rake just to level it off a bit. What I propose to do now is put a bit of bloodfish and bone in the bottom, and then mix some groundwater in with the soil, which I'll fold back on to put the plants back in the slot. And there's the first row in, just 3 more rows to go. Peas are in now. All that's left now, I'll put a bit of protection over for the first week or so as the rain's starting to fall again. What I've got is a piece of corrugated plastic and available from any DIY store, and all I've done is added about 32mm holes, spaces at random really. I've done that with a cutter, but you could have probably burned them through. You've got to be very careful because it is quite brittle. So I'll put this over the top. I will put something on the end, but I'll still allow the airflow to get through as well, stop them rotting and damping off. So that's the cloche on the top. As I say, I will cover the ends. In the meantime, I want to try and get another couple of rows of peas in before the rain does come in earnest. Covers are on. I've covered the ends up. There's plenty of vent holes in there for the air, so I think they'll be alright at that. I've got some Kelvin Wondering soaking ready to sow tomorrow, so I'm just giving the gutters a good wash down before they get planted again. The Kelvin Wonder in for a soak overnight, and I'll be going back out into the troughs tomorrow. That's the peas there after overnight soaking. As you can see how much they've swelled. The variety is Kelvin Wonder, and I've just prepared a couple of troughs ready to put them in. So there's 2 gutters topped up with soil ready for the peas to go in. I won't bother boring you with sowing them again, as I did it 2 or 3 videos back, so if you want to see that, just have a look 2 or 3 issues back and that's it. So I'll get these in and then get them into the greenhouse. Surprisingly, I managed to get 4 gutters lengths out of that batch of peas, so 2 have gone in the greenhouse, and I've put another 2, because I'm struggling for space, out onto the bed where the other peas are. I've propped them up on bricks, and I'll put one of those plastic cloches over the top, block the ends off, and hopefully it'll keep the mice out until they're germinated. A few people have made inquiries about the labelling system here. All this is just normal PVC electrical insulation tape with using a Sharpie marker, but also I've got a roll of yellow gaffer tape as well, or that's what I tend to use that because I'm colourblind on certain colours, green and brown definitely, sometimes a bit of red, and I find the best contrast I have, the more it's easier for me to see, so I find that yellow and black work really well. Just one more thing, I've planted up the heat treated onion sets, the ones that Dan had planted some up about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I won't have time to get them in the ground next week because I won't be around, so I've put them up into 24 cell trays and I'll sort them when I get a chance. Well, that brings this one to an end. Thanks very much for all my new subscribers again, the count keeps growing up. Before we go, I'd like to, if you get a chance, to take a look over at another guy on here now, set up a channel. It's called MuddyBootz Allotment, N-I-C-S, MuddyBootz Allotment. He's based down in Stratford and he's got a really good setup and does some good productions as well. Recently he's covered a big polytunnel and he did it on his own. It was an amazing job he done, and his plot's laid out nicely. So if you get a chance, pop over there, have a look, hit the subscribe button. That's about it from me now. Until the next one, see you later. Bye for now.